that the classic series have gone missing. And now a campaign has been launched to find other recordings of the so-called Top 20. Lucy van den Broel is at the BFI National Film and Television Archive Centre. Lucy, good morning to you. You're down there somewhere, I'm sure. What scale of a problem are we talking about here, look?
Good morning to you, John. We are talking about a massive loss of programmes. Look, despite all these tapes that you see around me here at the archive, the fact is that hundreds of tapes, episodes of classic TV programmes of the last 30 years are missing. I'm talking about Doctor Who, I'm talking about Top of the Pops, Jukebox Jury starring the Rolling Stones and the Beatles, and the first ever ITN News at 10, which was broadcast in July 1967. Now, the problem really came about because some of the original tapes of these programmes, particularly light entertainment, were white. It was felt that they weren't worth keeping. That's an attitude that has, of course, been revived ever since. Now, I've given you a few examples there, but let's have a bit more of a taster now of the kind of programmes that we're talking about. Take a look at this.
I thought we owned the place.
We do. We've got a 99-year lease.
How long have we had it?
Let's see. My grandfather bought it in 99 years.
All right. Well, you never lay down on her. Not like some men.
No, because you wouldn't have got away with it.
I heard that. I ain't got done it. I thought I'd never even crossed my mind even.
Where'd you get that tan? The seaside?
The seaside, madam? Did you hear that, Robert? We've been on the continent.
Oh, I see.
We always do this time of the year. Seaside? What does she think we are? Working class?
Now, John, a solution may be on hand because the archive here is absolutely convinced that members of the public have recorded some of those classic shows that are missing. We tend to forget that VCRs were available in the 1960s. The archive is sure that tapes of some of those shows are lying in attics, in lofts, somewhere that people are still holding on to them. Now, they would like to see those tapes. People won't get into trouble if they did record them. There's an amnesty now. The archive would simply like to know if they're there. And tapes are turning up all the time, John. You'd be amazed. They recently found a missing episode of Doctor Who in the roof of a Mormon church in East London, no less. Now, the clips that are handed in will actually be shown then to the public at a special event to be shown, to be held at the National Film Institute later this month, which will be really worthwhile. And of course, all those clips will then be stored here for future generations. More from me in a moment now, though. Back to you, John.
Thanks very much indeed, Lucy. We should explain that Lucy's wearing a hard hat, not because she's scared of falling meteors, but because she's on a forklift truck, and that's what the regulations say. Well, I'm joined now by two stars who've appeared in some of those missing classics, Frank Windsor from Z-Cars, of course, and Clive Dunn from Dad's Army. Good morning to you both. Thanks for being here.
Good morning.
What's your reaction, Frank, to discovering that so much of your work has just disappeared into the ether?
Well, we were told that some years ago, actually, and I mean, I was very disappointed, obviously, because I always felt that well, we were told, actually, a few years after doing Z-Cars and that sort of thing, that we were sort of icons of the 60s, you know. I mean,
well, you were.
And it was historic television.
Yeah.
And to think that it's just disappeared is very sad.
Well, there we have a flash of you as a younger man,
yes,
along with Chief Inspector Barlow.
That's right.
Stratford Johns. Clive, you too, I mean, we still see Dad's Army, of course. It's gone on and on forever and ever, hasn't it, on our screens? But, I mean, you must be disappointed that, for the records, anyway, they've gone away.
Well, they haven't gone away. Oh, I see. Which ones?
There are several episodes missing, apparently.
Yes, there's a few, isn't
there?
I mean, I've got no idea where they can... I believe they found some years ago in a cupboard in New Zealand. About 5 of them. Yes. And so that was lucky.
Well, I guess what happened, what you see, was what happens here when we go have tapes missing all the time, and people say, oh, can I borrow that? And they take it home and they never bring it back again. So what we're really looking for is former BBC executives who, for 20-odd years or so, have kept this dark secret of one of the episodes in their cupboard, yes. Maybe in New Zealand.
We were told, anyway, that there was a clear-out at the BBC in which they sort of, like, dumped a lot of the old stuff because they said, oh, it's black and white, it'll never be shown again, you know what I mean, and all that sort of thing. Didn't realise, actually, how important it was at the time. But the interesting thing is that when we came to, I think it was the 30th anniversary of the start of Z-Cars, which was 1992, Sorry, that puts
It's all right,
it
the
back,
years
wouldn't it?
roll by very quickly.
1992. The BBC actually produced a video of 3 of the early Z cars, including the very first one. And interestingly enough, we did an interview program, some of us, talking about this, and somebody came up with the fact that they had found these particular copies, you know what I mean, in the cellar of a restaurant in Cyprus.
This gets more and more bizarre. New Zealand,
And you
Cyprus...
say, where on earth and why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
And funny enough, Jimmy Ellis, who was on the programme, said straight away, he said, that's right. He said, I know the fella. He said, I've eaten in his restaurant, and he told me about it. So, you know, I mean, the thing...
Anyway, they are important because as the viewing figures show, Clive, these are still very, very popular programmes, very much in the public mind and loved by the nation, aren't they?
Well, we're very lucky. I'm sorry for Frank, I mean, because financially it's a bit of a disaster, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's right.
You get the
That's another
repeat,
thing.
he
Well,
doesn't.
yes.
That's right,
Yeah.
Perhaps
absolutely.
we'd better have a share out.
Yes. I'm glad you're sympathising on that.
Yes.
The other thing
Well, that's a very nice suit you've got. Something like
The other thing people tend to forget, Frank, and probably don't know in many cases, is that Z cars in the old days used to be done live. I mean, the mind
Live,
boggles as to how you
Yes.
did that.
We did 4 years of live, 1960 through to 62 through to end of 65.
There must have
4
been
years
times
live.
when you forgot your lines, or a police
Oh,
car
yes.
suddenly arrived and you couldn't
Oh,
remember
yes.
why it was there.
We had all sorts of problems. But you have to remember that in those days, that was not unusual because a lot of stuff was done live, and the audiences didn't
Enjoy it.
even bother about it. You know,
Frank,
I mean, it
heavens,
was,
we maintain the tradition of cock-ups on Live on Air. Yes.
Clive Dunn, I presume, can we have you just saying your traditional phrase there about the sort of, you know, what we shouldn't do in this particular situation, though?
well, don't panic.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Okay. Fellas, thanks very much indeed. Lovely trip down memory lane with the two of you. Lucy, if people do have these tapes, what should they do?
Well, John, to give the public more of an idea of the programmes that we're looking for here, we've compiled a top 20 list of the missing clips. Here it is, first of all. Now, John, if any of the members of the public do find any clips at home, any tapes that they think the archive might be interested in, they can contact the archive here. They should speak to Steve Bryant, and he is on telephone 0171 255 1444. That's 0171 255 1444. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Lucy, and I should say that even though Z cars didn't appear to be on that list, I'm sure the archivist would be delighted to see any copy you've got of it, and Frank certainly would, wouldn't you?
yes,
Absolutely.
certainly.
Thanks very much to you two. Lovely to see you.
Thank you.
The time